Back on SportsCenter on our breaking news tonight, ESPN's Shams Charania reporting that Luka Doncic is out indefinitely after injuring his hamstring. And last night's blowout loss to the Thunder, Shams calling it a grade 2 strain. The Lakers have 5 games remaining in the regular season. Luka is expected to be out for all of the regular season. His status for the playoffs TBD. Shams is back with us now. He broke the news off the top of the show. Shams, how's this going to affect the Lakers and Luka both moving forward?
Kev, this is devastating for both the Lakers and Luka. He's out for the rest of the regular season, but I'm told he will be out indefinitely into the playoffs as well. This is a grade 2 left hamstring strain. And so for a player of Luka Doncic's caliber, the burst that he needs, how he moves, this is obviously not the best outcome here today for the Lakers. A grade 2 hamstring typically carries somewhere between a 4 to 6 week timetable, so it's uncertain how much time he'll miss after the regular season. For the Lakers, their playoff seeding is now going to be up in the air as well, because going into the final week plus of the regular season, they have a 1-game lead with the third slot in the Western Conference. And for Luka Doncic, the likelihood of him being sidelined to start the playoffs is devastating, crushing for him, but it also puts him in a position where he could be ineligible for postseason awards like MVP and All-NBA team due to the 65-game rule. And his agent, Bill Duffy of WME Basketball, told me today that Luka Doncic and Duffy will be applying for the Extraordinary Circumstances Challenge for the 2 games that he missed due to the birth of a child in Slovenia in December. So he's had arguably the best season of his career. That is now cut short right before the start of the playoffs. He is out indefinitely.
Player of the month in the West for the month of March, and massive news in L.A. That's Shams Charania with the very latest here on SportsCenter. And to underscore what Shams was talking about, 13 games missed for Luka this season. L.A. 43-21 when he's in the lineup, 7-6 when he is not in the lineup. L.A. returns to action Sunday.
Breaking news out of the NBA, where Lakers star Luka Doncic will miss the remainder of the regular season with a strained left hamstring. He suffered that injury during Thursday night's loss to the Thunder. The NBA playoffs begin on April 18th, and it's still unknown whether he'll be ready to return for the postseason. Doncic finishes the year averaging a league-leading 33.5 points per game. The Lakers enter tonight's slate in 3rd place in the Western Conference with 5 games left to go in the regular season. And we welcome in John Henson for some immediate reaction. John, tough blow for the Lakers, obviously. What's your initial reaction to this news?
Well, you obviously got one of the best players, MVP candidate, a guy that essentially put his team on his back and carried him to a top 4 seed in the playoffs. This is massive because without Luka, this Lakers team has to play different. They are different. Now you slot LeBron as, I guess, the number 2 guy and Reeves as a number 1. And we've seen how that works. Yes, it works for a little bit, but not at a high enough level to win playoff games and championships.
I mean, John, this is a team that was really leaning on Luka. Not a great team defensively. They kind of needed to outscore the other teams once they get to the playoffs. Let's talk about the playoffs, though, John, because, you know, obviously they're making the playoffs. They're in the 3rd spot right now. They could fall to 4 potentially, probably not 5. We see the standings here. How does this affect their playoff hopes?
Well, you know, they'll have home court advantage, but unfortunately, they're going to have to see the Thunder or the Spurs, probably the Thunder early. I think they'll drop a spot, and we saw how that went last night. And just to kind of go with, there's a metric called gravity, right? Luka is top 3 in gravity, which means everyone around him kind of gravitates towards him on the defensive side of the ball, which leaves his guys open. There's a reason that Austin Reeves is about to get paid $200 million. If you look at all the guys in Dallas, P.J. Washington, Daniel Gafford, those guys all got paid. He gets guys paid. He makes guys better. It's going to be tough for the Lakers. Hopefully they can get it back for the 2nd round, which I think is more feasible than the 1st.
You know, it feels like it's when you have a great quarterback or a great offensive coordinator in the NFL where it's just everybody is successful on the team. Everybody gets, like you said, gets paid. Now, you're also obviously a big-time athlete, John, and I'm sure you've suffered some injuries that are similar to this. Now, this is being listed as a grade 2 hamstring strain. What's your response to that? Is this the type, in your experience, is the type of strain where you're shut down for a couple of weeks and into week 3 maybe? You're testing it out and it's good? I mean, how do you react to to this type of strain?
Well, the more hamstrings you have, the further you have to push out the timetable. So this is like his second or third, I think, on the same leg. I'm assuming this is probably a 5 to 7 week injury because you want him to be healthy when he comes back. I always joke about it. My hamstring put me into retirement. My contract year in Cleveland, I was not healthy. I should have sat out longer. I was only out 4 weeks. I come back, I pull my groin because my hamstring's not healthy, and the rest is history. So this is an injury you don't want to play with, and you've seen this kind of linger. Even with J-Dub on OKC, he's been dealing with a hamstring injury, trying to come back, then having to take a couple weeks off. So for Luka, you're going to have to take your time with this one. This is not the first or the second kind of soft tissue injury. You've got to try to figure out what's causing it, what's going on. You've got a lot of money. You can go to all the labs and all the things you can do to figure out why do you keep having these soft tissue injuries. But I think this is a 5 to 7 week injury because of previous history. You don't want to come out there and do it again and rush back because Luka is a long-term thing for the Lakers, not short-term. And what you don't want to do is have to have surgery if he rips it or tears it too much by just overdoing it.
I hate to speculate, and this is just me was wildly speculating, but last night when we saw the injury, and when you look on a player's face and you can tell that it doesn't look like it's a 1 or 2 week injury. That was the feeling I thought Luka was conveying with just being so crushed. Now let's talk about LeBron, because he has been over the last few weeks the third option for this team behind, of course, Luka and Austin Reeves. Do we think we see LeBron settle back into the number 1 role with Luka out?
I'm assuming you're going to have to definitely build around him being the number 1 guy and let everybody play off him. Obviously, Reeves is a great number 2. They might be 1A and 1B for this Lakers team because there isn't really a 2 or 3 guy on that team. So I'd be interested to see what happens. Now, LeBron is still LeBron, but he's 41 years old. Obviously, he can't be father time, and he's a really good player, but to carry a top seed into the playoffs is a tall task, even though all the great things he's done for the sport and for the game. It's a lot to ask for LeBron James at this point in his career.
John Henson, thank you very much for that instant reaction to the Luka Doncic news. We'll take another look at the Western Conference playoff picture. Thunder and Spurs at the top, but the Lakers in that 3 spot, Nuggets at 4. Those two very close together, only 1 game apart. And then we've got the Rockets and T-Wolves. We see who's in the play-in, at least as of now, the Suns, Blazers, Clippers, and Warriors. Lakers trying to hold on to that 3rd spot and trying to hold on to hopes with Luka Doncic injured.
NBA, where last night the Lakers had a chance to show they belonged in the discussion with the West leading Thunder. Luka had a chance to show he could be in the MVP conversation as well, but neither happened. LA was blown off the court by 43. MVP frontrunner Shai Gilgeous-Alexander pumped in a cool 28 in the win. And SGA was already the MVP favorite, but his odds moved significantly higher following the outcome. He's now an overwhelming -1,600 favorite to win the award, which equates to roughly a 94% win probability. The odds moved even more this morning after the release of Tim Bontemps' MVP straw poll. And for more, let's bring in our senior NBA writer, Tim Bontemps. Tim, what did the latest straw poll reveal in further detail about SGA's chances to win that 2nd straight MVP?
Well, Kevin, it showed that he's got a hammerlock on this race with 10 days to go in the regular season. I think it will take Victor Wembanyama and the San Antonio Spurs managing to catch the Oklahoma City Thunder over these final 10 days to give him any chance of winning the award. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 88 out of 100 first-place votes. Victor only had 8. And I think that speaks to the way Shai has carried this Thunder team with all the injuries they've had down the stretch and has kept them ahead of Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs, who obviously have been unbelievably hot, only losing 2 games since February 1st, a remarkable stretch of play from them. And it's only been because of the way that Shai has carried the Thunder to a similar record over the past couple of months that they've managed to stay a couple of games ahead in the standings. Now, we'll see what happens over the final 10 days. The Spurs have to play the Denver Nuggets and Nikola Jokic a couple of times. Oklahoma City has a couple of difficult games left as well, so maybe there's a chance the Spurs can catch up. But as long as they don't and the Thunder stay in front, I think we're going to see, Kevin, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander get a 2nd straight MVP award, joining the likes of Steve Nash, his countryman, among many others who have done that over the history of the NBA.
It's been a very unique MVP race here this season, and to your point, trying to go back-to-back like Nikola Jokic did from 2020 to 2022. Tim Bontemps, great stuff with us tonight on Sports.